the whole.
All right. It's Tuesday, January 4th. It's the new year. Liz has an invisibility cloak. So, there she is. Okay. So please, as everyone comes in, welcome. We'll let you get settled. If you're already here, let us know you're here. Say hello. Let us know where you're from. And let us know best part of your holidays. One thing. And hey, Deirdre, I hope you had a happy holidays. I know where you live at this point. We all know. You live in New Haven or New Hertfordshire. Oh, that's awesome, Beth. Is it called doing dishes while crying?
I feel like I'm the only one who gets that because I'm on Just Ethan. You might have to give context with the other folks here.
I think it's got to be at least a chapter. Beth one time talked about that she cried and did dishes, and it was a perfect analogy for living into your values and being uncomfortable. And I'll never forget it. And we kind of coined that over the last 6 months is well, you got to do dishes and cry sometimes. It's okay, So
it's an interesting title. I'd buy the book.
I would too.
It's not me. It's my OCD. Cool. I love that name. Your grandchildren, New Hampshire. No, I know it's New Hampshire. That's awesome. So hey, Josh, good to see you. So if you're just joining us, we'll get started in another 30 something seconds. So please feel free to come in, grab a seat. There's sparkling water on the table. And let us know where you're from, your name, which comes up when you tell us where you're from. And one awesome thing that that happened during the holidays. That will be in the book. Awesome. Will I be mentioned in the book, Beth? That's the most important thing. Happy New Year all from Manchester.
Okay, so Ethan, you start. Important thing that happened over the holidays.
This is not about me.
You want to tell everyone else to tell you. You need to tell us.
Can we mute her, please?
Yes, I'll mute myself.
I'm just kidding. I had a great time spending time with family. That was definitely the highlight. Hey, Rachel, good to see you. Looks like we're just after 2 minutes, so I think we should get started. Quickly, if you're just joining us, say hello. Let us know where you're from. One great thing that happened over the holidays. We will share ours as well. Welcome to New Year, new live streams. My name is Ethan, along with my fellow lead advocates and national advocates. We're so excited to be here. If you don't know me, I'm a national advocate for the International OCD Foundation. I think that's understood by now, and so are all these amazing people. Let's just go over the quick, hey, Margaret, good to see you. Happy New Year. Let's go get through the quick housekeeping, and we have no biographies this time because why? So this town hall is intended to serve as educational content. It is not intended to replace therapy. For treatment-related questions, please be sure to work with your local provider or contact a local clinician. The International OCD Foundation is not a crisis hotline. It should not be used if you're in distress or feel unsafe. If you're in a crisis or ever feeling suicidal or unsafe, please go to your local emergency room, call 911, call the Suicide Prevention Hotline at 800-273-8255. We always want to be kind and respectful of others and create a safe space as possible. This is being recorded and will be broadcast on many social media platforms. So just keep that in mind. But at the end of the day, we're all here to support one another. So thank you for being here. Beth wrote, yes, I wanted to ask all if you'd be all right if I mentioned you. Apparently, I have to have your permission. You can mention me in whatever you want, but I want a free copy. And hi, Nikki in Dublin. Okay, so tonight's conversation, we will be talking with Elizabeth. Well, first, our guests. We have National Advocate Elizabeth McInvale. We have Lead Advocate Katie O'Dunn, Lead Advocate Chris Trosden, and Lead Advocate Tom Smalley in order of good lookingness, starting with Tom, working backwards.
I see you did there.
I got you. Missing today is our dear beloved Valerie Andrews, who is dealing with some family stuff, but we love her and we wish her well and she'll be fine. And so we will represent her. With all of that, tonight's conversation is all on all our new and exciting live programming for 2022. As you know, we've been very active on live streams, creating as much possible content as we can to inform and educate and support the community, support you, support us, support all of us. We're really taking that to the next level for 2022. And so wanted to share with you all what we had in store. But first, I want to pass it around to my dear friends and advocates and just let them kind of say hello and Happy New Year. So Liz, we can just go in order.
Hi, Happy Happy New Year. I am excited to see everyone. Sorry if I keep looking off. I'm on baby duty until my husband gets home. So I'm just multitasking. But I'm excited. I'm really excited for today as we're going to really talk about the new launch of the programming. And I'm also excited for Ethan to talk a little bit about like the dreams and the vision of what the programming was from the very beginning and how it's evolved. So I'm just excited everyone's here and I'm excited for us to talk about what's to come because I feel like there's already been so many amazing, great things, but we're trying to really streamline that all to benefit, I hope, every one of you. So just happy to be here, grateful to serve you, and hopefully to continue to throughout this year.
Go ahead, Katie.
Okay, awesome. Well, thanks, Liz. And I'm really excited to be here too. This has been, I think, over the new year or moving into 2022, I was reflecting on this last year and just the IOCDF community and how much it's meant to me personally. And it's been so neat to be a part of the programming that meant so much to me in my own OCD journey and in my own recovery journey, to be a part of that continuing to grow. And I think about 2 years ago, watching streams or going to different events with the IOCDF and feeling like I had so much hope seeing the programming and being able to be a part of that and to be a part of this conversation tonight is such an honor. And we're really just excited to get to continue to connect with all of you because that's who it's about. It's just like that experience that I had. It's about everyone here in the chat who's watching and your experiences with OCD and continuing to create this awesome community so that we know that everyone has a home and a safe space as you move through this recovery journey. Ethan, are you counting down? I'm done.
No, I was just counting your everyone's. Chris, Katie, I appreciate it. Chris, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Kind of to piggyback off what Liz was saying, I always, whenever I'm part of something, I always try to think when I was struggling and when I was suffering with OCD, what do I wish I had? And one of the things that I think that has been a positive that has come out from the pandemic, something that there hasn't been a lot of positives, is that we've been able to connect with so many people all over the world, especially people that are unable to access evidence-based care for the OCD. And what I love about these streams and what I'm really excited about this brand new launch this year is just figuring out new ways to reach out to more people, to build more community, to assist and support those who look to the IOCDF for resources and education and support while they journey through their OCD, kind of battle against the disorder. And so I'm just excited for the new curriculum that we're rolling out for all the live streams. I really, really am renewed about them. I'm excited about them. And I'm just looking forward to everybody having access to a community and support while they're looking for researchers for OCD. So I'm just excited for everybody to hear what we got cooking here with the live streams at the IOCDF and new ways that people are going to get support and community.
Love that, Chris. Beautifully, beautifully said. And hi, Love Lana. It's good to see you. And Pauline, Happy New Year to you as well from Liverpool, UK. We have Manchester and Liverpool. All the good soccer teams are in the house. And last but certainly not least, Mr. Tom Smalley. How are you, sir?
Good. Thanks for having me. Glad to be on with you guys and glad everybody's here. I'm really looking forward to hearing more about what each of us has to offer, the programming, and obviously we really revamped it this year. And I'm excited for everything we're going to put out for the community. And I'm just excited to have everybody here.
Thank you, Tom. And I want to say, is it Marcelo or Marcello from Uruguay? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning in. We have an international contingency today, but thank you all for weighing in. Everyone will be speaking. And also, as always, feel free to weigh in. We have Brazil. Hello, Jessica from Rio. So this is awesome. It's great to see everyone. We're starting off the new year with a big bang, which is really exciting. So with that, I hope everyone here had a great new year. And whatever you celebrate, a happy holiday. We're all excited for 2022. So with that, I'm going to get started just on a little bit about like how we got here with these live streams, and then we'll sort of go into what we have planned. We're also here to seek out your wisdom and expertise as well. We're excited to hear what you're interested in hearing and seeing and learning, and and we definitely want to. We're community first all the way. We're you first. As always. So except Liz, she just disappeared. So So, as we talk, if you have ideas or thoughts that pop in your head, please put them in the comment thread, because, all of our, everything that we do is for you. So we definitely want to hear what you have to say and integrate it into everything that we do. Also, hey, Meryl, good to see you, and Happy New Year. And Happy New Year, Carol. And hey, Don, and back from Puerto Rico. I want to hear what your best meal was, Don, while you were down there. I love Puerto Rico. Okay, so live streams. I can't take all the credit as much as I'd love to. I got the idea for doing a live stream called Just Ethan with the IOCDF from Liz, who was doing Live with Liz with her nonprofit at the time, Peace of Mind. And it was so great to see her engage the community and ask questions and just be there to support everyone, random times during the day, lunch hours, things like that, and help people access information about OCD and support, non-therapeutic, but support nonetheless, and be able to learn more about OCD and how people can help themselves and find resources. And it was really crucial. And, I always say this to Liz, but I walk in Liz's footsteps. It's more comfortable in heels, but whatever. And, but, so I was like, ooh, I should do that too. So I did. And, what really happened is we hit COVID, and COVID hit, and we went at the time, it was just sort of me as a national ambassador. And we kind of went to the drawing board with Jeff, our executive director. And we were like, we have to help the community. We have to support the community during this time. It's an awful time. Everybody's home. Everybody's scared. We don't know what's going on. None of us do. And sort of, out of a very reactive nature, the town halls were born. And they originally started out as COVID town halls, how to deal with the anxiety, how to deal with the rules out of the CDC about hand washing, and just supporting the OCD community as they suddenly had to do things that they had learned to be, response prevention to, not wash their hands, not do this, not do that, not take temperatures, and all of that stuff. We were doing 3 to 4 live streams a week. We had amazing guests, and we're so thankful to all those guests way early on that joined us and spent hours, doing these live streams. And then, and I can't believe it's only been a year and a half, but then, last year it morphed into all that we're doing today. So it really came out of a need, but we've taken a good look at everything. We've looked at the analytics, and we've looked at what you've all responded to as a community, what you've enjoyed. And we've really tried to create programming that you want to hear, that you want to see, and that you want to learn from, and that's important to you. And that's what's most important to us. Last year, we all thought we did a really good job of trying to deliver as much programming as possible. This year, we really want to up the ante. We really want to deliver a wide variety of programming on a variety of topics, some that we've talked about before that are necessary, some that we haven't and we need to address much more. A lot of ideas and thoughts that have come from you. At the end of the day, though, we want to create regular programming at regular times where you show up at this time, this day, you will see one of our faces, and we will be there together, same week, same day, same time, having an amazing conversation about OCD or related disorders, anxiety, in a variety of subjects. So we're really looking to create like IOCDF TV. That's what we want to do here, right? And so I can't think of a better group to build this out with. So that's essentially what we're doing. And we've got a good framework for this year. And we want to tell you about a lot of the things that we've got going on, how some things are changing, how some things are staying the same. And then we'll build from there. So I actually want to start with Liz, who along with Chris Tronston were sort of spearheading the individuals with OCD, but also experts as they're both clinicians. And I'll let them talk about a little bit about what they've got planned for the coming year on their live streams.
Absolutely. Well, I'm excited, and I want to let Chris speak more than myself, but I'm just excited to do what Ethan said, which is really to continue our programming and to find ways to, streamline it to be most effective for all of you. And so one of the things we thought is that the more we can standardize the times and also kind of the theme or the topic, so to say, of the days and times, that it might be more useful. So the first thing I really want to announce is, sorry, my baby. The thing I really want to announce is kind of how it'll look. So basically Tuesday evenings is going to be our time that's really advocate focused. So it's going to be much more of these community conversations, the advocate discussions. This is where just Ethan's, and I'll let him and others talk about it, will fall. And then Wednesdays at noon Eastern time, 11 my time, 9 a.m. Chris's time in California, right? That is when we're really going to be doing more professional type of talks. Now, that doesn't mean these are for professionals. These are actually for you, but they're going to be more clinical focused. So we'll be answering clinical questions. We'll be thinking about how to address certain treatment questions you might have, or topics related specifically to getting certain treatment and how we integrate that into our care, what we should be looking for with providers, what we should expect in ERP, that sort of thing. And Chris, I'll let you talk more about kind of the nitty gritty and how it's going to work. But basically Wednesday afternoons, which is what Chris and I will talk about, it's going to be dedicated to professionals. Will be the ones who will be presenting during those times. So it will either be myself, Chris, a professional guest speaker that we might bring in if we're talking about certain topics that we think their expertise would be useful. And then this is also where the research roundtable symposium is going to go with both Kyle King and Dr. Jonathan Abramowitz. So Chris, you want to talk a little bit more about you and I's vision and what we're hoping, and also some of the feedback we've gotten from others that has led us to make this decision. And I'll say along the way, when all of us are telling y'all what we're doing, we would love to hear what you want us to do. So in the comment box, if you're like, oh, Chris and Liz, please cover this, or please make sure you talk, please tell us, because that is really how we make these decisions.
Yeah, the way that I look at it, it's funny because I always hear Wednesday afternoons and I always want to say something. I forget, for me, I always think Wednesday mornings, the live streams, because I'm here on the West Coast. The way that I look at it is, with OCD treatment, we know one of the positive things that we have going for us is we found really gold standard treatment that works for the majority of individuals with OCD. And one of the nervous things that I get is there's a lot of people out there that aren't clinicians, that haven't had the training, putting a lot of information out there. And sometimes it's pretty bad. And so what I like to think of for us is here at the IOSDF on Wednesdays, for me mornings, but probably for afternoons for most of y'all, is there's going to be a space where you're going to have some people that are really working hard to bring you the latest in treatments, to really get in there and show you and talk about the different ways that treatment works to help you gain back your life and have management over your symptoms. And so having Research Roundtable, for instance, it's with Kyle and with Dr. Abramowitz, are going to bring you some of the latest OCD research and make it more conversational. What I'm excited about for Liz and I is Liz and I have done some streams together, and it seems like every time we do streams together, everybody seems to really like them. And one of the things that we're able to do in those streams is really answer your questions. And we're getting questions on our own personal social medias. We're getting questions live in the chat. We're getting questions emailed to the IOCDF. And we always have been kind of having topics and always get to the questions at the end. And then we keep just getting stacked up more and more questions. So we were finally just it seems like the Q&A is something that people really, really want, where we can cover a bunch of topics. So Liz and I, as under Ask the Experts, are going to be able to be there for you and really just answer your questions. And what it's going to allow us to do as well, what we were talking about in the meeting this morning, is be a little bit more expansive on that, actually give you some tangible examples of how treatment works. And when we talk about living in values, not just saying that sentence, but giving you specific examples of what that would look like, or making treatment as a lifestyle. And then at the end of the month, if we have for the month of January, we've had a lot of people requesting us talking about sexual orientation OCD, what that looks like, how you can identify it. So we're going to be able to have a theme and really go more in depth with that while still answering your questions. So I'm just looking forward to obviously working with Liz. That's going to be amazing. And just being able to give everybody a little bit more one-on-one attention and really address your questions and give you examples and go more in depth. So Wednesdays will be your place to go and hear from clinicians. What I'm excited about too is I think it takes a village. And so having people like Ethan and having people like Katie and Tom with lived experience, you're also going to get some insight from someone who's gone through this challenging disorder and has really been able to manage it. So you're kind of getting everything that can be helpful.
And that's the last thing I want to say, is that all of our live streams will build upon each other. And so even though the intention might be that it's Chris and I on Wednesdays, Ethan might fill in sometimes, or he might be the guest, or Tom might come on, or Katie, right? Because we all have different experiences that we want to speak to. And so that's really our goal, is that we can bring a clinical perspective, but also Chris and I both have lived experience. So we can kind of break things down that maybe doesn't feel so clinical. But one of the things that we know is that as part of what we do and who we are for these live streams, we can't give specific treatment recommendations, right? We can't become your providers. We talk about that in the beginning. However, we can give treatment education, right? We can give psycho ed. And so it's an opportunity that if you were to say, hey, I'm struggling with contamination, my provider's doing this, I don't know if I should be doing this, we can say, we might not be able to say, oh, Chris, this is exactly what you should do, and this is what you should say, but we can be able to say, hey, this is what I often do. This is what it looks like in my office clinically when I'm working with contamination, or how most people might do it. And so maybe you could ask your provider about doing these types of exposures together, or whatever it might look like. So anyway, really excited. But it's an opportunity for you to ask us questions. And so our goal is that as people come and as they engage, tomorrow afternoon is our first one, by the way. So make sure you attend tomorrow at noon Eastern. The hope is that you start asking questions and we start also being able to compile, are there themes, right? Do we find a lot of people are asking the same questions, so that then we can make sure we use that as a topic in a stream that we can be specific on, both Wednesdays and of course Tuesdays for advocates.
Yeah, I wanted to add to go off of what you're saying. You kind of already addressed it, but what Liz and I really want to do is we want to also make it about you. I mean, you all are struggling on your own with OCD, and some of you may not have access to care. There might not be treatment in your area. And one of the things that I would love to hear from everybody watching is what Liz was just saying. If we keep getting a lot of questions about the same theme, we can take a stream to go more in depth. But to make the streams, the Ask the Experts, really, really work, it's going to be getting a lot of questions and a lot of examples, a lot of conversation with you. So we really hope everybody shows up to those on Wednesdays, ready to bring some questions and to support each other in the chat. That's what we're really looking forward to. And I'll say it one more time. I just want everyone to know that if you come to the streams on the IOCDF on Wednesdays, that you're going to get that evidence-based clinician direction, because like I said, I always think back when I was struggling, going and finding the IOCDF was how I finally found proper care. And I just don't want people going on the internet and hearing about celery juice or hearing from some coach who tells you to tap 6 times on a table and you'll feel better. So it's like knowing that things you're going to hear on Wednesdays, you're definitely going to get the support from the IOCDF. And we're going to be bringing on guests that live, breathe, and eat OCD treatment. So we're excited.
Yeah, these are guests that we vetted. They're guests that, both our messaging and those, right? And IOCDF continues to vet our messaging as well, right? If we're saying things or sharing things they're not comfortable with, like, they are going to let us know, and we're going to be addressing that. And so you can feel comfortable, like Chris said, that the content we're bringing on these live streams is rooted in evidence. And it's really what we feel makes the most sense for OCD treatment right now and in the future, because it will continue to morph. The second piece is where to go and how to submit some information. So make sure you continue to go to iocdf.org/peace of mind. That is where all the programming will be, but that is also where you can submit questions or content that you want covered. So if you are thinking about this and at 2 a.m. you're like, I really want them to cover this, please make sure you go put that, because we take all of that and use it directly for our live streams. The last piece is a survey. So we are working together with IOCDF to put together what we're going to call kind of a needs assessment, but it will be a survey for all of you to complete that will really help us understand what are you looking for? What do you want? What do you hope to get? What's helpful? What isn't helpful? And so please make sure you're on the lookout for that. Not only will we share it probably through a link when we're doing a live stream once it's available, but it will also be on that landing page, iocdf.org/peace of mind. But we want your feedback to really be what shapes this programming, because that's your feedback and in attendance. We went through all the data and all these different things. That is how we've come together with this new programming that we're excited to launch.
Thank you, Liz. Thank you, Chris. Not to tangent, but if you are interested in buying an art piece from Liz's baby, you can see a sample right next to Liz. It's framed on the wall. Just if reach out to the IOCDF. Her baby is 6 months old and does amazing work, as you can see. Anyway, on that note, okay. Anyway, thank you all for the also kind comments as well. Thank you. Please continue to make suggestions. Anchor support, spouse support, medication research, all great. Psychedelic treatment, psilocybin, all great. Comorbid conditions, how OCD grows, i.e. developing multiple types. And also thank you for the kind words, Nikki and Alex and everyone else. We really do it for you, for us. We're all in this together at the end of the day. We're all in this together. So that is the most important thing. All right, I'm going to take the wheel for a second and quickly talk about my live stream, Just Ethan. Just Ethan, same great show, different name. So Just Ethan is pivoting. It will now be called Community Conversations. And this came out of you all. It started as a platform for me to talk about stuff in my life and then answer questions about OCD. And really it morphed into an awesome one-on-one conversation with all of you, where it was just, we talk about our day, we talk about what's going on, we talk about what's on our mind and how we're dealing with stuff and what's going on in the news and what's going on in life and what's happening in that moment. It's real time, it's current events, it's what you're going through, it's what I'm going through. And we're really here to just support each other and talk about it, right? Lived experience. It's not professional based. I'm not a professional, right? It's all about my lived experience combined with your lived experience and the realizations that we can come to together. And so that's why we chose the name Community Conversation, because that's what it's turned into. It's turned into a one-on-one conversation between myself and you, the community. I'm super excited about it. It really is the same format. If you have suggestions, do things differently, we can. I really like asking you questions. I like you asking me questions, and we just collaborate together. So that will be every other Tuesday. We'll give you the date. Actually, I think it starts next week, actually, at 7 p.m. Eastern. And as thank you, Fran, for posting Town Hall, Community Conversations, Diversity Roundtables, Faith and OCD Roundtables. We'll talk more about the Town Halls and Roundtables in a minute. But that's all I've got on the Community Conversations. We'll continue to build it out as we go. I'm sure we'll integrate some fun new stuff. I like tech. We'll do some music. We'll do some backgrounds. But if you have ideas or thoughts on how we can just continue to make it better, and at the end of the day, support you better, that's what I care about. So yeah, that's Community Conversations in a nutshell. So in your brain, just Ethan becomes Community Conversations, and we go from there. Liz and Chris, do you feel like you covered Lunch and Learn in your? Do you want to talk a little bit more about it?
I hope we covered it. I think we're good.
No, I just want to make sure.
Yeah, it's actually going to be. Are we doing Lunch and Learns, Chris, or just Ask the Experts? I think it's mainly Ask the Experts, and then on occasion it'll be a Lunch and Learn on a specific topic.
Yeah, that's how I looked at it.
Lunch and Learn is the 5th Wednesday of every month, so it only happens 4 times this year. Right? Is that right, Chris?
Yeah. So what we were kind of thinking of doing is, that's why when we're talking about everybody submitting your questions, especially what we're going to do is kind of take those topics. So for instance, with sexual orientation OCD, we got so many communication about that specifically. So we have an extra Wednesday this month rather. And so that's when we're going to address it. So those Lunch and Learns are going to be when we have an extra week to really go in depth in a topic that most people are submitting questions about.
Perfect. Thank you. I also want to reiterate, though, if you're just joining us, I want to reiterate one more time, and I know you said it, Liz, wow, Liz, there's somebody else with your name. That's crazy.
I was psyched out by that, too. I was like, oh.
It took me a minute. I was like, what? There's 2 of Liz. Liz or Chris, also, one more time, talk about why the Ask the Experts and Lunch and Learns and anything else that you and Chris are doing separately or together are done by professionals but still accessible for non-professionals. Just touch on that one more time.
Absolutely. And I want to I want to also say they're absolutely also recommended for family members. So don't feel like it has to be a professional or an individual. It's going to be family members. We'll definitely be talking about how to help encourage treatment, motivate your children for treatment, all that stuff that comes in, because we know the family dynamics are really big when it comes to OCD and OCD treatment. But really, we are going to be giving kind of specific clinical psychoeducation. So what that means is that we are going to be breaking it down into layman's terms, I hope. And then we're going to be really talking about what does ERP look like in practice? Not what's the definition. A lot of y'all know that. We're happy to talk about that. But and I want to what does it actually look like? What should you actually expect? And so the goal is that we're going to be really giving specific feedback and education that a licensed clinician should be giving, and so you'll hear us talk about clinicians versus coaches and different things, and why we really want you to be seeing a licensed clinician who specializes in OCD. I can promise you that everybody who comes on to Lunch and Learn or is doing Ask the Experts, we are licensed clinicians who will be specialized in the topic we're talking on, right? If we're bringing on someone for, autism, they may also specialize in OCD, but they will also specialize in autism. That's really important to us.
Yeah, what I wanted to say, Ethan, is, I remember when I was in my treatment, shout out to Wendy Moeller, but she ran an online support group. And what was nice is, even though it was for the community and we had a lot of people in there that had OCD, we had James Claiborne, who was one of the moderators. And so what was nice is you had individuals sort of talking about the way that they got through this disorder, but you always had Dr. Claiborne in there to add like a clinician's vantage point on it, or to jump in and say, actually, that's probably not the best thing to do in that situation. So we're really looking at our audience as individuals with OCD, their parents, their family members, the people that they're dating, their husbands, their wives, also therapists that are kind of starting their journey with learning how to treat OCD and want to hear from people that are, you know, have been in the industry for a while. And then specific clinicians that are going to come on who know a topic. I saw somebody had recommended to have comorbidities there. So like Liz was saying, there is a high comorbidity, for instance, with OCD and autism. And so having somebody come on who specifically works with individuals with OCD that are also on the, have autism spectrum disorder can then talk about that. And so, you know, we want everyone to attend. We want you to attend, Ethan. We want your cats to show up. We want Liv to watch. I mean, we just want everybody to come and just hear from people that really, really are focused on helping those with OCD. See, the cats are already watching.
The cats are very excited. My coworkers. Thank you, Chris and Liz. And yeah, that's the bottom line is, you know, we're dividing it in this way so it makes sense for a myriad of reasons. But at the end of the day, all of these things are for everybody. Everyone is welcome. It will all be, you know, whether it's professionals talking to you, whether it's lived experience talking to you, whether it's a combination of both, it's all for you. And much like the conference, you know, you can come to what makes sense to you or what you relate to. You cannot come to what doesn't. It's also will all be recorded. And so you can always tune in later, which is really awesome. So,
that's a good point. We haven't mentioned that yet. Good job.
Thank you. Thank you. I was gonna make a joke. It wasn't funny, so I edited it out. That was a pause. So yes, thank you for but it's all for you, and it's all amazing content. I want to turn now to Tom, who has been tirelessly heading up our anxiety and athletes SIG and movement, if you will. So I'm gonna turn it over to Tom, get an update on all things anxiety and athletes and what you've got planned for your content.
Thanks, Ethan. Yeah, no, so we have a lot going on. So we had a great time doing the Anxiety and Athletes web series this past year, and we decided to take that away from a live stream because we have so many good topics and new streams going on in 2022 and updated content. We decided that we're going to do a 30-minute pre-recorded series where I'm going to have special guests on each week, and we're going to ask them questions and have a mailbag where people can submit questions about topics that they want to hear about. And so it'll be bi-weekly, and we're working on getting that set up hopefully by February, where we're rolling out an episode bi-weekly. So I'm really excited for that, just because pre-recorded means I can plan ahead, get some really, really great guests on, and get some people that will offer some really, really amazing perspectives. And aside from that, we're also working with NOCD. Margaret and I, actually, if she's still here, we're going to do a Q&A with NOCD about being an athlete with performance anxiety or with OCD. It's going to be a wide Q&A with coaches, parents, clinicians, anybody that wants to attend. And then it's going to be sponsored by NOCD. So Stephen Smith has generously helped us out there. So I'm looking forward to everything we have going on there, and just keeping up the resources on our website. We're trying to add more content to each section for parents, for coaches, for athletes. So if you're interested in getting involved, definitely reach out. We started a task force. So there's a special interest group, the Anxiety and Athletes special interest group, and then also a task force. The task force meets once every 4 weeks. And we're planning events and planning different things that we want to get going for the website and for content for social media and for blog posts and presentations as well.
Thanks, Tom. So as you can see, we're hitting it from all angles, really trying to give you everything that you're interested in hearing and learning about. from a variety of experts, lived experience, anything and everything we can do to get all of the words out there. Thanks, Fran, for putting the anxietyindathletes.org link. Also, I know Liz might have to pop off in a second. I quickly want to let her talk briefly about some postpartum. I know that's important to her and a topic she's interested in, and somebody just mentioned. I didn't know, Liz, if you had anything in the pipeline regarding some streams on postpartum.
100%. Yeah, we did one maybe a couple months ago, and it is absolutely something that will be on our radar, and we will be for sure bringing on some experts in the arena. Probably I would want to bring a psychiatrist on to talk about medication while you're in the perinatal period. So that's pregnancy and then postpartum as well. And I really want us to focus on that. IOCDF actually has an entire perinatal task force and like basically a subcommittee where we meet monthly and talk. And so we will bring those experts on. And that is something that everybody knows I'm very passionate about. You can probably hear my daughter screaming in the background. And so, it was something very personal for me, but then from a professional perspective, I also, of course, have strong interest. And that's really the goal. The goal is that these Wednesday and Tuesdays, right, that we are all talking about things we're passionate about, but also sharing our lived experience to make it real and to bring people on. And so I love, like Margaret suggested earlier, if we do a substance use panel, like let's make sure we bring on someone who's experienced and lived with substance use and OCD, and then also bring on providers who really specialize in the treatment of both, right? That's what we want to be doing, is we really want to be bringing the best people to talk on these topics.
Absolutely. And to that point, and to that point, everybody's going to Chris's point, definitely look back in our playlists, both on YouTube and Facebook, because, we've done so much content over the last year and a half. We've probably talked at one point on one of the subjects that you're interested in hearing about. And what made me think of that was OCD and eating disorders. We've had some amazing conversations on a variety of these subjects already. That doesn't mean we're not going to do them in the future. We are 100% going to do them in the future. But just it's always great if you've got some time and you're feeling anxious, or it's late at night and you're upset about something. You can always log on. It's free. You can go through the playlist and see, they're all titled according to what we talk about. And so you can check them out and see if anything relates to you. It's a great way to learn something and maybe help pass the time when you're struggling a little bit as well. Get some support that way. Katie, you have been quiet long enough. Thank you for being so patient. We're very excited about you for a few reasons, and I know you've been hosting you've moderating live streams, and you've been very involved in the Faith Mental Health Task Force, the SIG, Faith Conference, all those good things. What's really cool about Katie is, much like Liz and Chris, she brings a professional expertise to the table as well as a lived experience, and she's going to be bringing both of those things both to the town halls and her own faith panels. So I would love, Katie, for you to tell us a little bit about what that expertise is, how you bring it and mesh it with OCD, and then a little bit about what you have planned for the faith and the town halls as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm really, really excited. Yeah, it's hard for me to be quiet for long periods of time. So thank you for noting that. I was really proud that I held it together that long. But I'm really excited about everything that we're doing. For those of you who don't know me as well, I'm an ordained minister and I serve as an interfaith chaplain, which a chaplain is really someone who is ordained in a particular faith tradition, but they don't work in a typically religious place. So that might mean that rather than working in a church or a mosque or a synagogue or a temple or a jamaat khana, they work somewhere else, like at a school or with police officers or firefighters. And they generally carry some sort of faith perspective to that space. So I've spent the last 7 years working as a school chaplain, where I get to do interfaith work with 2,700 kiddos and really help a really diverse community navigate issues related to faith, but also to mental health. I have a unique perspective in that I also have OCD and experienced a pretty difficult relapse in the midst of serving as a school chaplain. and now have appreciated the opportunity to blend a lot of those passions together from the faith expertise side, but also from the OCD experience side. So I'm working now on my doctorate in integrative chaplaincy, and am focusing on this intersection of faith and mental health, and utilizing ACT as a spiritual lens to do some adjunctive work with spiritual kind of issues that come up maybe as a part of treatment. And that's some of the exciting stuff that I've really been working with the IOCDF on as well, because unfortunately, sometimes faith communities aren't as open or supportive to evidence-based treatment as we wish they were. And often, particularly for those who are experiencing or who are navigating religious scrupulosity, who might be having obsessions about their faith, they might go to a faith leader and feel like it's a faith issue based on the response that they get. And what I want everyone to hear me say over and over and over again in these streams is that it is not a faith issue. It's an OCD issue. It's the same kind of OCD that we're talking about with every single other theme. And the response is the same. It's evidence-based treatment with a licensed clinician. It's exposure and response prevention. It's all of the things that we talk about with the IOCDF. So it's really, really important for faith communities to learn more about that, but also for faith leaders to learn how they can support, how they can recognize scrupulosity, how they can recognize religious obsessions within their congregations, how when someone is going through those treatments, they aren't offering reassurance or accommodation. So there are lots of different aspects that can become really tricky when people have different cultural and religious experiences. And it's really important for clinicians to come together and faith leaders to come together so that individuals in those faith communities can live into their beautiful faith traditions in their uniquely beautiful ways, while also doing those treatments that are important to them. So that's a lot of what we've been doing with the IOCDF, with our faith and OCD task force. We're getting ready to come out with a whole new website specific to giving assistance to clinicians looking to really affirm different and understand different faith traditions. We are offering resources for individuals who are struggling with issues of faith and OCD, and then resources specifically for clergy and different faith traditions to be able to see, well, how can we offer support? How can we make referrals? What does this look like? So a lot of this will feed into some of the live streams that we have coming up this year, and that'll be super, super cool. So we are going to be having some faith roundtables on the third Tuesday of every other month. They're going to go back to back with our diversity roundtables. And the purpose of this is really to highlight the fact that faith and mental health do not ever have to be mutually exclusive. The fact that just like every other aspect of OCD, OCD tends to latch onto the things that are the most important to us. For folks that faith is really important to them, your OCD might latch onto your faith. But those two things don't have to be mutually exclusive, that you don't have to leave a faith community or stop engaging in practices that are meaningful to you, that it's possible to move through exposure and response prevention and do things that seem really scary, do things that maybe seem like they oppose your faith when they actually don't. It really helps you to get back to this healthy, value-driven place with your faith. So those are the things that we're really going to be talking about at those faith roundtables. We're going to be doing some different roundtables specific to our different faith traditions so that we can hear examples in what this looks like for the Muslim community, for the Christian community, for the Hindu community, for the Buddhist community, for the Sikh community. Of course, we would love recommendations on what you all would like to hear. And our goal on those streams is to have representatives that, of course, are experiencing OCD in those faith communities, but also to have a faith leader from that community and a clinician to be able to have an open conversation about how we can navigate these issues that are very much OCD, but that often appear to look like an issue of faith when they're really not. So those are some of the things that we'll be doing with those faith roundtables. Those will be back to back with our diversity roundtables, which will also come the third Tuesday night of every month. And those will kind of alternate every other month. So one month, one third Tuesday will be diversity roundtable. The next third Tuesday will be the faith roundtable. And the diversity roundtable, those will take place with Darlene Davis. And some of you all that I see in the chat have really engaged with those in some meaningful ways too. I know that we have Alexandra on here, and she's been on some of those diversity roundtables, and it's just been awesome. And really the purpose of that is because the IOCDF is incredibly committed to DEIJ work. We're really committed to looking at issues of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and how that impacts treatment for different individuals. So we're really trying to create a space where you can come on to live streams, where you can talk about your experience, but where you can also hear that regardless of race, gender, orientation, culture, religion, ability, experience, any factor, that you are able to get that evidence-based treatment that you need. But we're also trying to give you the tools to be able to advocate for yourself, to make sure that you are in a space with clinicians who are supporting you in all of those aspects of your identity. So addressing all of those things with Darlene, and then we'll be addressing the faith aspects with me with our roundtables. And we're really excited about all those things. I feel like I talked too long, so I'm gonna be quiet now. But yeah.
I'm on mute. Okay. You didn't talk for the first 30 minutes, so I felt like...
Yeah, to be fair, you waited a while, so...
I was so patient.
Yeah.
You were good. I'm actually going to throw one thing at you, one more thing, which is you will now be hosting, for the most part, unless I butt in, the OG town halls, which will be once a month as well. Quickly, though, it's important to differentiate between... I don't know why I just did that. It was super exciting. To differentiate between, so the town halls, just like they've been, will involve individuals with lived experience as well as an expert or two as well in whatever the area of topic of conversation we're discussing. However, with that being said, as Liz said, they will also have professionals as well. But the big difference in this regard is really the professionals on this side will be really engaged in not that they'll not be engaged on the expert side, but at the end they'll be very Katie, words, mine, help, go. What are experts doing on town halls?
Oh, okay. I don't really know where you were going with that, so I'll try to.
I was just trying to differentiate between the experts on Ask the Experts and the experts on the town halls, and how they'll be in engaging with the audience differently.
Okay, awesome. So the town hall piece, I mean, Ethan's done a great job getting us going with that, and I'm excited to be hosting a lot of those. Ethan, again, will be hosting some of those too, but we're now going to have one town hall a month, and the goal is we're going to have kind of a mix of different folks on those town halls. We're going to have a combination of experts and a combination of individuals with lived experience to really talk about specific topics. And it's of course, there's still an evidence-based component, just like the awesome things that Liz and Chris is doing. But the purpose is a little bit different. The purpose is to specifically kind of engage with your questions and to offer some more basic education about OCD. So those are some really good places to, which of course, Liz and Chris are going to be doing that as well. But those are some really good places to go where we're going to be addressing particular topics, especially for folks who are maybe trying to learn a little bit more about what exposure and response prevention looks like, what ACT looks like for them in specific scenarios. We're going to be trying to kind of foster this community aspect, which it's kind of our, I guess, Tuesday night piece with the town halls and the community conversations are really focused on, well, what does it mean for us all to come together and have a conversation about those things that we're going through and those things that we're experiencing. We'll have clinicians, of course, as a part of that, but there'll be a pretty big lived experience component, especially because either Ethan or I will be hosting, and we don't necessarily bring the same clinical perspective that Liz and Chris do, but we hope to bring that aspect of understanding what that suffering looks like from that lived experience side and being able to represent your questions with those experts as we have a more organic conversation. Did that help at all, Ethan? Was that what you were going for? I feel like I went in a circle.
Nope, that was perfect. We like circles. Comes back around. Justin Timberlake wrote a whole song about it. It's great. So no, that was perfect and exactly what I was getting at. I didn't know if Liz or Chris wanted to jump in on that a little bit as well, or felt good.
I think that's right. I mean, and I think this is where I don't want us to get too strict or like black and white of like, this is Tuesdays, this is Wednesdays. I think there is going to be a lot of overlap. And so Wednesdays, there might be clinicians and you're having clinical conversations, and Tuesdays, there might be clinicians. Sometimes you're having clinical conversations. Tuesdays, there will always be advocates and you're having this community conversation, but sometimes that happens on Wednesday too. And so I think there will be some overlap, but I think the biggest difference is, for the most part, Tuesday evenings are going to be more community conversations, and Wednesdays will be more clinical conversations. So
Perfect.
even if there's a clinician for that roundtable, it's still going to be much more of this clinical kind of candid back and forth candor and conversation compared to like us answering questions and giving more clinical perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
Yeah, and Liz, I love speaking to what you just said. I love what you're coming back around to, which is the idea that we're all, the goal really is the same thing. We're trying to give you all lots of different content, lots of different opportunities, a community aspect, a clinical aspect. But at the end of the day, as you all can see here, we all have the same goal and have really been working on this together. And the goal is to offer everyone here a space to come together, a space to know you're not alone, and a space to learn about evidence-based treatment so that you can live the beautiful life that you deserve to live. Like, that's the whole purpose of all of our programming. It just looks a little bit different depending on the day that you show up.
Exactly.
Amazingly put, Katie. Thank you so much. And also, we're going to have Tom on some lives. He just doesn't know it, but we're going to yank him in.
100%.
And, he's going to
And
have
maybe some of those coaches and different people too, to give those perspectives that are really important.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Absolutely.
And the only other thing I want to say too is, when we roll out something new as the foundation, and I'm speaking more now as even just like from the board and foundation perspective, nothing is ever set in stone, right? So we are rolling this out based on like information we've gathered that we think makes the most sense. And I think all of us would say we're really anticipating like a 3 to 6 month trial. Like, how is it going? Is it working? And so this is why we keep engaging you guys to say, what do you want? What do you like? What do you not like? Is because our goal is that we shift to what you want, not just what we think is working. And so this is not like, oh, here's our new programming, nothing's going to shift in the future. It's, hey, here's a new program that we think makes sense. Let's see how it goes, and let's hear from you, and let's keep shifting it to where it makes even more sense.
That's perfect. Perfectly said. We are super, super excited, as you can hear, with our myriad of programming and just bringing you the best possible content on OCD that's out there. Hey, Shannon Shai, we love you and love this. And thank you for all the kind words. Love. And Stacy Rosenthal and Alexandra, it's good to see you. Hey, Mike. And so, yeah, we are super excited for all of this. It's going to be, to Liz's point, it's going to be a work in progress, but we are really, really excited, motivated, and inspired by you, honestly, to create, world-class, interesting, fascinating programming that really helps get the end of the day, we're all about like access to treatment, effective treatment, affordable treatment. That's what it's about, right? So we're going to keep pounding the pavement and creating as much content as we possibly can so people can hear the words like ERP, or hear the words like, IOCDF, or what OCD actually is, until, it makes the rounds, and, hopefully there's not a need for what we're doing, or as much as what we're doing. That's the goal, right? Where everybody on and every block can get treatment. It's affordable, it's effective, and, and Chris and Liz, I don't know, join the circus.
And the last thing I want to throw out really quick that we didn't talk on as much that we meant to is the research roundtable. So I did mention Kyle King and John Abramowitz will be talking once a month. That'll be on Wednesdays now, the research roundtable. But somebody mentioned earlier that they want us to cover research. We have a specific talk that is going to be on Wednesdays once a month, where Kyle and Dr. Abramowitz will be talking about the most up-to-date research advancements and applying it back to not just clinical work, but also to the community. So that'll be a really, really cool topic. And I also saw, I'm taking notes of everything that people have suggested, but someone suggested we talk about PANS and PANDAS, and we're already planning that that's going to be the next research roundtable, or in the queue of the next 1 to 2. So we will absolutely, sometimes we'll be speaking about it during the Wednesday events. Chris and I will be bringing guests, or it may appear on that research roundtable where they will really be diving into the latest research, what they know, but then also talking about it from a clinical perspective.
Perfect.
Yeah, and I just want to add real quick to that. I know Kyle and Dr. Abramowitz isn't there, but I know for me, at least, when I was writing my thesis, looking at the research, for instance, there was different research on like why people end up getting into treatment. So, there was just talking about like the different reasons that people get into treatment, and finding that the majority of reasons is because people either hit rock bottom or like family support getting people in treatment. I mean, things that you can pull as a clinician from research is so great, because then it allows us to kind of spearhead how we do the treatment. So what I would suggest to people, if you hear that title, like Research Roundtable, it can sound very much like, oh my God, this is going to be very intimidating. It's going to be research. Oh my God, it might be boring. It's big words and stuff. But, you know, I was able to watch the Research Roundtable. That they also had Dr. Grayson as a guest. They had one more guest I can't remember off the top of my head, but I was able to watch it, and I really liked how they were discussing the research, but they really made it conversational and how it can specifically aid therapists, but also aid family members, loved ones, and people with OCD. So definitely give it a try. You know, we're kind of rooting for Kyle and Dr. Bronwitz. I think it's a really good addition to the. I know it's been an addition, but it seems to be new. It's newer, so I'm just happy to have it. Some kind of.
See, words are hard today. It's like a Monday.
It is. Well, I'm kind of like trying to do a commercial for their show, so I was thinking like I was trying to go back in my brainstorm of when I watched it, what I liked about it. But I just liked how they were able to discuss research and just let people know. I mean, I know the live stream that you guys all did about the future of OCD treatment was really popular. I think people want and are hungry to keep hearing about like what are some other things coming out in our community that people can utilize to help them in their process of getting better from OCD.
For sure. Awesome.
Yeah, and I think it's, oh, sorry. I was just going to say, I think it's really important in that, Chris, to your point, it's not boring. It's really, really cool. It's really exciting and interesting, but it really, I mean, I see on streams all the time, pretty much every stream I'm on, for anything related to OCD, there are folks that are asking questions about what's coming up with treatment, what's new, asking about, is there something different that might be coming up? What can I try? What's the research look like? This is a really great opportunity to take those questions well, at least when I'm on streams, maybe y'all answer them better than I do. I usually say, I'm not an expert in this, but this is a really great opportunity to take those questions and actually ask folks who are in the field. And it's really cool. So all the things. Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, Katie.
No, I'm done.
Go ahead, Chris.
I was going to add one more thing. I know we kind of touched on it, but one of the things that I've gotten a lot of feedback from people is they really enjoy that the IOCDF is putting a lot of these talks into playlists. I know that Chelsea, shout out to Chelsea from Peace of Mind, who's now with the IOCDF. She put together a BDD playlist of a lot of different talks on body dysmorphic disorder from a recent conference, and people have really liked. But I really want to say that, you know, if you miss a live stream, please go back and watch it. You can definitely, I know they've been uploading it to Instagram, but I would say the IOCDF's YouTube is probably the best place to go. So maybe you subscribe to that, you know, and then that way you're going to get updated on everyone that comes back. So a lot of people have said they've been treating it like a podcast, like they'll play it and while they're cleaning and stuff, they'll listen to it. So definitely remember that if you can't make it to a live stream, that you can watch it back live, each one of those. Because I know that for some people, the times they're just unable to make it and they aren't realizing that they're also being put somewhere else.
So here's the good news. The reason we're interrupting each other is we're super passionate about this. and so that's the best possible scenarios. We all have great ideas. We all want to get them out there, and we all want to support you as best we can and have you support us. This is a symbiotic relationship. We're all in this together. We're all supporting each other.
And we all do actually like each other, even if we interrupt each other, I swear.
Well, Ethan's trying to update his Scrabble score. He just used symbiotic. So you know.
I did. But no, at the end of the day, you know, this community is so amazing. We talk about it all the time. You know, 2022 is just going to be an even more access to the community, more access to the IOCDF, more access to information that we also desperately need, and collaboration between us and you and us. So we're really excited for that. We're just coming up on the 8 o'clock hour. I took a drink. There's nothing actually in this. It just makes me feel like a host if I have a mug and drink out of it, because they all do that. So that's what you saw before. Also, quickly, I'm going to wrap up. First of all, I want to thank, hang tight. First, I want to thank Katie, Tom, Liz, and Chris for joining us tonight. I'm going to skip in if you had questions, Adam, I know you had some questions. Tomorrow, 12 p.m. Eastern, Ask the Experts. We just talked about it. You'll have Liz and Chris. We'll be taking all your questions tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, all of that. So anybody, if you had questions or comments or suggestions or wanted to engage, tune in tomorrow, 12 p.m. Eastern. Chris and Liz will be taking all of your questions. With that, some final housekeeping. As always, I want to thank the IOCDF and, of course, behind the scenes, Fran, for working all his magic. Quickly, I'm not reading this script. This is awful. The bottom line is I didn't write it. That's why I'm thinking it's awful. But just keeping it honest and real with all of you. I don't know who wrote this, but now's your chance to submit for the 2022 IOCDF Live Conference. If there's a presentation, if there's a workshop, if there's a support group, if there's an activity that you haven't seen that you've always wanted, now is your chance to submit. You can visit iocdf.org/conferences to find out all the details about submitting. We want to submit. Get in there. Join us. It's a great way to advocate, and it's a great way. You also get, if you speak, you get, I think, a percentage off your registration as well. So, at the very least, take a discount. Also, registration is open for online OCD camp. It's created especially for youth between the ages of 6 and 17. Camp will feature 2 days of interactive sessions and activities for 3 age groups. In addition, the program will include sessions for parents, guardians, and opportunities for fun and socialization with other families. You can learn more and register at iocdf.org/OCD camp. Finally, join the Peace of Mind virtual community at iocdf.org/peace of mind. You can view the live stream schedule, submit topics, questions for future events, all the good stuff that we talked about. That page will be continued to be updated as we continue to build out what we've just been talking about. You'll also be able to reach each of us through that page. It's not up yet, but you'll be able to ask us questions directly. You'll be able to pick what advocate you want to ask a question to. So we're integrating lots of ways for you all to be able to talk to us and vice versa. So if you haven't already, you want to be notified of all upcoming programming the IOCDF is having over the next month. You should subscribe and follow on Facebook and YouTube, as well as Twitch. Hey, now it's over. Now it's over, Chris. Chris, sit up just a little bit. Nope, sit up. There you go. Okay.
Looks like my head.
And with that, happy New Year. Great start to the live stream 2022's IOCDF season. Thank you to Katie, Tom, Liz, and Chris for joining us. Also, if you need anything, have questions, support, please don't hesitate to reach out to the IOCDF. You can reach them at info@iocdf.org. We'll flash that on the screen. Boom, right there. Don't hesitate. And if you have any questions for us, feel free to direct your question and put our name in the subject line and send it to that email address, and they'll forward it to us. With that, have a wonderful evening. Stay safe, stay vigilant, feel the feels. Don't let OCD off the hook. And we'll see you. Well, Liz and Chris, we'll see you tomorrow. We'll see you next week. Thank you all. Have a good night.
See y'all tomorrow. Bye.
Bye. See you guys.